G'day, Wombat here, and today I'd like to talk to you about plectrums. That's right, picks, something that as guitar players, most of us use. So, as a guitar teacher, I tend to watch a lot of guitar teaching videos, particularly when it comes to beginners, in case I find something that is presented in a way that I hadn't thought about or I think might work for a particular student. But the thing that bothers me about a lot of these videos is when it comes to the conversation about what kind of a pick you should use. Now, there are lots of different types of picks in this guitar playing world of ours. And what's right and what's wrong can be really confusing for a beginner. So let me set that straight for you right now. You cannot use the wrong pick, because the wrong pick simply doesn't exist. We have different picks. Some of them do different things better than others, but there's no right or wrong. You need to use what feels right for you, what you like. And the only way to find that out is to literally try out lots and lots of different picks. It's the only way to do it. So as a beginner, buy lots of different types of picks, lots of different thicknesses, lots of different shapes, and try them out. It's the only way you're going to know what works for you and what you don't like. So get out there, grab some picks, and just start playing. Even if you're not playing much or not playing well, doesn't matter. You're concentrating on what the pick feels like in your hand and how it sounds on the strings, because different picks have different sounds when it comes to how they hit the strings. So all these videos tend to go, well, you need to use this .88 pick as a beginner, and it's complete rubbish, because picks are a personal choice. So I'm not here to tell you what to use, but I am here to explain to you that what you use is right for you and not what's right for anybody else. So now I'm going to show you what picks I use and talk a little bit about why I use them. This is just a guide, and what works for me might not work for you. But I'm going to let you have a look at what I use. All right. So there's a guitar player from Australia called Tommy Emmanuel. Now, a lot of you will be familiar with his work. He is quite well known worldwide. And he said that you can't get good tone out of a thin pick. Now, previous to hearing that statement, I used to use whatever pick I had to hand. It didn't matter. But after playing a few years and hearing that, I began to realise that, at least for me, he was right, that you can't get a good tone out of a thin pick. The thin pick just sounded too thin. So I've never used a thin pick since. So I always use thick picks, and when I say thick, I mean 1 mil or above, so 1.0 or above, or if you're using picks that just have the medium and heavy, it's a heavy gauge that I use, that I look for. So now I'm going to show you what I use. So the first one I'm going to show you is one that I have been using up until recently, and it's for electric guitar playing. Now I don't know if you can see this or not, it can be a bit hard to see. It is in fact a Jim Dunlop Ultex pick. Now, Ultex is a material that is hard wearing, and it's supposed to help to keep your pick longer, so you're not going through them as quickly. And let's face it, as cash poor musicians, we tend to like to hold on to things as long as we can. Now these picks sound good, they play well. This particular one that I use is a 1.14, and it is a sharp. So if you can see that there, it's got a sharp tip to it. So it's a regular size, regular shape, except for that sharp tip. Now I use the sharp tip because I play metal, and I play a lot of fast single note kind of solos, technical stuff. So I find that the sharp tip actually helps me with getting the speed and accuracy of my pick tip where I need it to be. So that's what I've been using up until recently. I've recently changed though, because I now have these lovely custom picks that were made for me by the wonderful Grover Almond company. They are a hard wearing material, much like an Ultex pick, but it is a different material than that. So the tone of my pick has changed. Now as a beginner you're not going to notice much about the tone of a pick. It's a small, minute thing. But after you've been playing a few years, you'll start to hear that difference. So it's a warmer pick. I think that's probably the best way to sum it up. It is a warmer pick. So if you go with a warmer pick, I like a warm tone, but you do have to be aware of some amplifier settings. Maybe you need to put a little bit more treble back into your sound just to compensate if it's a little too warm, and those sorts of things. Now these particular picks have they're a pointy pick again, a sharp pick, so it gives me that tip that I like when I'm playing an electric guitar, in order to get my speed and accuracy where I quite like it. It is a stubby pick, however, so the shape and as you can see them here, one is certainly bigger than the other. So the new picks are stubby, so they're a smaller pick, which means that they can be a little bit harder for some people to hold on to, because they're little, they're not the shape and size that they're used to. But for me that doesn't matter so much. It is a 1.5, this pick that I use, so it is quite a bit heavier than the 114, but I like that as I've played longer. I like that thicker pick. It cuts through the string nice when you're playing faster stuff. You're not relying on flex in the pick. You're not waiting for that flex to hit the string and then flex back again, which can in fact slow you down when you're playing fast stuff. So that's what I use for playing electric guitar. Now when it comes to acoustic, I don't play a whole heap of acoustic, just for a bit of fun here and there. I have always tended to use a regular kind of pick, and by that I mean one that is a regular shape. It doesn't have a sharp tip and that sort of thing, because I don't need that speed so much when I'm just strumming an acoustic. So I've tended to use just a regular thick pick, about a 1 mil. Once again, one of the hard wearing kind of materials, just to make it last as long as I can. But recently I picked up one of these interesting guys. I don't know if you can see that. This is a Dragon's Heart guitar pick. Now Dragon's Heart are a company that I came across online. There's a few guys getting into them now. They're made from a man-made substance, polyamide imide, I believe, and they are really quite a different pick. As you can see, the shape is quite a bit different. It has 3 playing surfaces on it. The first one is a regular style pick tip. Then you have a round pick tip, which is great for strumming. If you're just strumming a few chords, works really, really nicely. And then the other one is a really sharp, pointy tip. Now, I have tried these on electric, and I didn't find that they made much of a difference, and I didn't particularly like it more than the picks that I'm currently using, so I don't really use it on electric. But on acoustic, the only way I can describe the sound that these things gave off was it was almost like lifting a set of earmuffs off your ears when you play. So a bit more treble, a bit more clarity, and I just really enjoyed the sound that they gave. So that works for me. That's how I see it and how I hear it. It might be different for other people. I'm sure that there's people out there that don't like them, but for me, I've enjoyed using them. Now, they are an expensive pick. These picks range around about the $9 to $10 mark per pick in Australia. You have to order them online. So they're not a cheap pick, but they are a hard-wearing pick. They do last quite some time. And for me, on an acoustic anyway, they sound great. Now, electric, not so much, because the electrics I play tend to be quite heavily distorted, being a metal player. And it didn't make as much of a difference in the sound or anything like that. But on an acoustic, they sounded really, really good. So so that's what I've gone with on an acoustic, at least for the moment. Remembering that pick choice changes over time. You'll try something different that'll sound even better, and that's what you'll go with. So that's picks in a nutshell. So I hope this has helped you. Just remember that try as many different picks as you can, and you'll find what you like. But don't listen to anyone who says, "Oh, you have to use this pick." That's rubbish, absolute rubbish. Use what you like, use what you find works for you, and just play more, and enjoy your playing. All right. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this has really helped you. So yeah, that's picks. Keep rocking, guys, and I'll see you next time.